In the landscape of power, there is a harsh reality few dare to confront. Respect is never a byproduct of warmth or friendship. It is born from the ability to instill a profound, lingering sense of caution, a fear rooted deep in the psyche. Fear is the currency of influence. It captures the gaze, forces attention, and from that attention grows respect. Humans are wired to honor what they cannot predict, what they cannot control, and what might cause them harm. Respect is reserved for those who hold the invisible hand that can either elevate or dismantle their world. This is the core of power, the mastery to dictate outcomes without surrendering to the chaos of emotion. While the many seek affection and approval, mistaking kindness for strength, the true architect of respect understands that being liked is a vulnerability. The desire to be liked exposes weakness. It invites manipulation. Respect does not arise from being liked. It springs from the fear of the consequences that come with crossing you. Understand this. The cost of disrespect is never just physical. It can be social isolation, professional ruin, or a psychological unraveling that leaves scars invisible to the eye but undeniable in effect. People respect those whose price for mistreatment is too high to pay. To claim genuine respect, one must detach from the craving for validation. This detachment severs the emotional leash, freeing you from the whims of others' opinions and making you untouchable. Look at the leaders who shape the world, the rulers, the commanders, the figures who bend reality with a glance or a word. They don't plead for affection or seek to charm the masses. They set boundaries, forge standards, and declare their respect as something earned, never given. This detachment is not emotional coldness, but strategic sovereignty over one's inner landscape. It means no longer measuring your worth by others' feelings, no longer a slave to their approval. When you cease to seek validation, you cease to be vulnerable. You step into a realm of power where your value is absolute, self-defined, and immovable. This absence of need is magnetic. It disarms the manipulator and unsettles the unworthy. The moment others realize you do not rely on their affection, they respect you not because they love you, but because they fear the cost of your disregard. To embark on this path, you must first recognize the peril of approval seeking. Every time you seek validation, you gift your power away. You become dependent, and dependence is weakness. Shatter the emotional chains. Enter any space with the unshakable conviction that the opinions of others do not dictate your behavior. This is detachment, an act of supreme authority. Being unbound by the judgments of others places you beyond reach. You become a force governed by your own rules, not by the capricious tides of public opinion. When your self-worth is anchored internally, the compulsion to prove yourself dissolves. This is the essence of power, to be a mystery wrapped in silence, deliberate in action, and unpredictable in nature. Unpredictability is a weapon as lethal as it is subtle. Predictable people are easy to read, easy to control, easy to dismiss. When you cultivate mystery, withholding your true thoughts, revealing only what serves your design, you sow uncertainty. That uncertainty breeds caution, and caution commands respect. Others will never know where you stand, what you desire, or how you will respond. This keeps them off balance, alert, and ultimately respectful. Consider the ruler who commands fear not through brutality, but through composed detachment. Their power lies in emotional control and distance from manipulation. They do not bend to the moods of those around them, they make others bend to their will. Such a presence is forged not through kindness but through mastery of self and circumstance. Presence is power incarnate. It is the silent force that changes the atmosphere when you enter a room. It is the subtle shift in energy that makes heads turn and conversations halt. Presence does not demand attention through volume or spectacle. It commands it through the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth and does not seek permission to exist. To master presence, you must first abandon the desire to be liked. Trying to please diminishes your light and renders you forgettable. Authenticity is the bedrock of presence. When you own your uniqueness, others are compelled to acknowledge it. Confidence without arrogance, a steady assurance that you belong, these are the signals that turn presence into power. But presence alone is not enough. It must be wielded with precision. Reveal yourself sparingly. Maintain an air of mystery that intrigues and captivates. Speak only what is necessary. Let every word, gesture, and movement reinforce your command. Scarcity fuels value. When your presence becomes a rare occurrence, others learn to prize it. Make your appearances significant, your words weighted with intent. Silence is another pillar of power. The most commanding individuals often speak least. Their silence is not absence, but presence intensified. Silence controls the rhythm of interaction. It forces others to fill the void, often betraying more than they intend. It leaves others guessing, wondering, unsettled, a perfect state for power to flourish. Body language amplifies this silent command. A poised posture, steady gaze, deliberate movements convey more than words ever could. Slouching or fidgeting signals insecurity. Standing tall, moving with purpose broadcasts confidence. Your body becomes a language of dominance and control. This presence can unsettle. People may not articulate their discomfort, but they feel it, the weight of your authority, the quiet assurance that you are not to be trifled with. This intangible force makes them cautious, respectful, and wary. Predictability kills power. When your actions can be anticipated, your control evaporates. You become a pawn, easily manipulated. An enigma, someone who defies pattern and expectation, wields true power. Unpredictability is the art of calculated surprise. It is the refusal to be reduced to a formula others can exploit. Occasionally act against expectations. Sometimes show generosity when harshness is expected. Sometimes restrain your wrath when fury is anticipated. Keep others guessing. This unpredictability creates tension, a psychological boundary that others dare not cross. Silence and unpredictability together forge a fortress around your authority. Speak with intent. Hold back your emotions. Let silence speak volumes. The less you reveal, the more control you wield. When others are left in the dark, they must respect your shadow as much as your light. Restraint extends beyond conversation. Sometimes the most potent act of power is withdrawal. Choosing not to engage signals that you are above trivial disputes and petty dramas. Disengagement commands respect by demonstrating you need no validation or justification. Scarcity is the currency of respect. Being constantly available dilutes your value. Make your time and attention rare commodities. When people must compete for your presence, they learn to honor it. This principle applies to all areas: business, social life, relationships. Overexposure breeds contempt. Controlled presence breeds reverence. Do not be the one who always answers the call. Be the one who makes others wonder if you will show. When you engage, do so with purpose. Let every interaction feel like a privilege earned, not a right granted. This scarcity creates a hunger for your attention and a respect born from the desire to possess what is hard to get. Remember, respect is not handed out for being agreeable or accessible. It is seized through self-mastery, strategic detachment, and the careful orchestration of presence, silence, unpredictability, and scarcity. Each of these elements is a weapon in the arsenal of power. When you embrace detachment, you sever the chains of need and vulnerability. When you command presence, you become impossible to ignore. When you wield silence, you control the narrative. When you cultivate unpredictability, you keep others off balance. When you enforce scarcity, you elevate your value. This is the architecture of respect, not the fleeting kind given in smiles and pleasantries, but the lasting kind carved into the consciousness of those who know the cost of crossing you. They will remember you, not because you were liked, but because you were impossible to forget. Power lives in the shadows of what is unsaid and unseen. True respect is born in that dark space where fear, mystery, and mastery collide. Claim it. Own it. Let respect chase you, not the other way around. Music swells and fades. The journey toward genuine respect begins with a relentless examination of the self. To command respect externally, you must first command it internally. This means facing your own fears, insecurities, and desires without flinching. It means refusing to let your emotions dictate your behavior or cloud your judgment. Emotional mastery is not about suppression, but control, the ability to feel deeply without being consumed. Those who cannot master their inner landscape remain slaves to the opinions and actions of others, always chasing approval like a mirage in a desert. Self-awareness is the cornerstone of this mastery. It demands brutal honesty about who you are, what you want, and where your limits lie. You must confront the uncomfortable truth that your worth is not defined by the fleeting approval of the crowd, but by your own unwavering standards. This kind of internal fortitude builds an invisible armor, a psychological shell that protects you from the corrosive influence of external validation. Once you forge this armor, you begin to see the world with clarity. You understand that respect is transactional, but the terms of the transaction are yours to set. You give respect sparingly, and you expect it unconditionally in return. You no longer tolerate those who seek to undermine you or drain your energy. Boundaries become your greatest ally. They are the invisible lines that others dare not cross because the consequences of crossing them are too severe. The ability to enforce boundaries is not innate. It is cultivated through consistent action and unwavering resolve. People test boundaries relentlessly, especially those they perceive as weak. To maintain respect, you must respond to violations swiftly and decisively. Hesitation invites further disrespect. Firmness communicates that your respect is not a gift but a privilege granted only to those who earn it. This firmness must be balanced with a calm demeanor. Rage or aggression often signals insecurity or loss of control. The most feared and respected individuals respond to threats with composed authority. They do not need to shout or display violence to assert their dominance. Their calmness is a weapon that disorients opponents and reassures allies. It signals that their power is absolute and unshakable. Control over your emotional responses extends to every interaction. Whether dealing with friends, adversaries, or strangers, your demeanor should always convey self-possession. Emotional volatility is a beacon for manipulation. When others see you as reactive or unpredictable in your emotions, they exploit those moments of weakness to gain leverage. Conversely, when you project steadiness, you deny them the opportunity. Steadiness does not imply detachment from reality, but rather a strategic engagement with it. You choose when to respond, how, and to what extent. This selective engagement conserves your energy and prevents unnecessary conflict. It also elevates your presence because others learn that your involvement is meaningful and impactful, not frivolous or reactive. In parallel with emotional mastery is the cultivation of intellectual sovereignty. Power is not merely brute force or intimidation. It is the ability to shape narratives, influence perceptions, and control information. To wield true power, you must be a master of ideas, strategy, and subtle manipulation. This does not mean deceit for its own sake, but a sophisticated understanding that perception often outweighs reality in human affairs. Information is currency. Those who control what others know or believe they know control the playing field. The wise know when to reveal truth and when to cloak it in ambiguity. They understand that clarity can sometimes be a liability. Oversharing exposes vulnerabilities and invites counterattack. Instead, they use suggestion, implication, and silence to create an aura of mystery and superiority. This mastery of information extends to social dynamics. Power operates within networks of relationships. To command respect, you must navigate these networks skillfully, building alliances, detecting threats, and manipulating perceptions. This requires keen observation and emotional intelligence. You read between the lines, decipher hidden motives, and anticipate moves before they are made. In this social chess game, trust is a double-edged sword. It must be granted sparingly and always with caution. Blind trust is a fatal error. Instead, cultivate a guarded trust where you give only as much access as is strategically beneficial. Keep your true intentions and weaknesses hidden. Use trust to disarm, but never to surrender control. The art of manipulation is often misunderstood as malevolent. But within the framework of power, it is a necessary skill, a means of steering others toward outcomes that serve your interests without overt coercion. The best manipulators are invisible architects of influence. They create environments where others willingly comply, believing they have free will. This subtlety elevates their power far beyond blunt force tactics. Manipulation requires patience and timing. It is a dance of light and shadow, where every word and gesture is calculated. Impatience or obvious control breaks the spell. Instead, the master manipulator waits, watches, and acts only when the moment is ripe. This patience frustrates opponents and confounds observers. It is a demonstration of confidence in the inevitability of your design. As your power grows, so too must your discipline. Power without discipline is chaos, volatile, dangerous, and ultimately self-destructive. Discipline ensures that your actions align with your long-term strategy, not momentary impulses. It is the daily commitment to refine your mind, body, and spirit. It means mastering habits, controlling desires, and maintaining focus. Discipline also manifests in your physical presence. The body is a vessel of power. A strong, healthy, and controlled physique reinforces your psychological authority. Sloppiness or neglect weakens the image you project and undermines respect. Training your body is not vanity. It is a strategic investment in your power. Power also demands an understanding of risk. Every move you make carries consequences. Calculated risk is the hallmark of strategic leadership. Those who avoid risk altogether remain stagnant, but reckless risk invites downfall. The master balances courage with caution, knowing when to advance and when to retreat. This balance of risk and control creates a tension that fuels respect. People admire those who dare but are not foolish. They fear those who appear fearless because they do not act on impulse but on calculation. This subtle difference separates the true wielders of power from those who merely pose. In parallel, you must cultivate resilience. Power attracts opposition, jealousy, betrayal, and attack are inevitable. Your ability to endure, adapt, and recover from these assaults defines your longevity. Resilience is born of mental toughness and emotional flexibility. It means learning from setbacks without surrendering your core identity or mission. To cultivate resilience, build rituals that reinforce your inner strength. These can be meditation, physical training, journaling, or solitary reflection. Such practices connect you to a deeper source of power that transcends external circumstances. When chaos erupts around you, this inner reservoir sustains you. Another cornerstone of power is strategic generosity. True power is not defined by hoarding resources or affection, but by knowing when and how to give. Generosity can disarm hostility, build loyalty, and create debts that others feel compelled to repay. However, generosity must be strategic and measured. Giving without purpose dilutes your power and invites exploitation. Use generosity to enhance your reputation as a leader who commands respect not just through fear, but through wisdom and grace. This duality of power, both fearsome and benevolent, makes you unpredictable and therefore more formidable. People never know if you will be harsh or kind, and this uncertainty is a potent tool. At the highest level, power is a form of art. It requires creativity, intuition, and vision. It is not enough to react to events, you must shape them. You become a force that directs history, not a leaf blown by the wind. This requires imagination, a capacity to see possibilities where others see limits. Vision inspires followers and intimidates opponents. It is a beacon that draws people toward you and a warning to those who would oppose you. Without vision, power is directionless and fragile. With vision, it becomes unstoppable. As you ascend this path, remember that power is a responsibility as much as a privilege. It tests your character and reveals your true nature. The question is not whether you will wield power, but how. Will you be a tyrant or a tactician, a ruler ruled by ego or a master of self? The difference lies in your commitment to continual growth and self-mastery. Every interaction, every decision, every silence is a step along this path. The mastery of respect is not a destination but a journey, one of endless refinement, strategic detachment, and unwavering resolve. Embrace this journey. Own it. Become the force that others respect not because they must, but because they understand your inevitable dominion.